Hey there! Today I will show you my first test of the BOSCH AXT 25 TC shredder. It means a lot to me that you support the channel by subscribing, commenting and rating the videos. Thank you for being such an incredible community. Let's get started. The necessary items are bags for shredded branches, single extension cord if the length doesn't exceed 25 meters, an extension cord with 3 cores of 1.5 square millimeters cross section can be used, otherwise the cross section must be 2.5 square millimeters, pile of branches to be miled, and of course the most important device, the shredder. It's also recommended to wear protective gear including cap, ear protection, safety goggles, work pants, work shirt, work gloves, safety boots with steel toes. Let's begin with a brief recap of the key points from the last episode. Shredder unboxing, first use, calibration, interesting observations about this machine. Check the description for the link. The set includes feeder, user manual, prodder. There are 3 buttons for controlling the device. The yellow button is for reverse. It activates the shredder while pressed. The red button stops the device. The green button engages regular operation. The machine stays on until it's stopped. I take a thin young twig to check the blade adjustment by running it through the shredder. I inspect the shredded twig. It's not completely cut, so I tighten the blade adjustment screw by 1 turn and repeat the process as needed. The turbine sits deep and the feeder holes are small. Make it a safe design, since inserting a hand there would be challenging. The narrow set wheels make pulling this shredder over uneven terrain challenging. Summary. The box has dimensions of 40 by 68 by 76.5 centimeters. The feeder has following dimensions. The internal length is 20 centimeters. The internal width is 9.5 to 10 centimeters. In the previous episode, 3 intriguing statements were mentioned. They say inserting branches is easy, whatever that means. The device is quiet. I'm curious if it matches my definition of a quiet machine. It comes with a handy prodder. I wonder if it's better than just any random branch. Sounds good, but is it true? We will find out in this episode. In the next part, I will show how the shredder handles thicker and thicker branches, and I will speed up the monotonous but exhausting process of grinding a pile of branches. Time for real tests. Most of these are branches from Thujas accidentalis, Brabant. If anyone is wondering whether these plants can withstand a cut of about 2 meters, with a trunk diameter around 35 mm at the cut point, I can confidently say yes. However, it requires taking many precautions. If you are interested in this topic, I can make a video about it. Let me know in the comments. As you have seen, a shredder effortlessly handles things the size of a thumb. Next, I will try two branches with diameter of 16 and 13 millimeters. The next two branches will have diameters of 15 and 25 millimeters, respectively. The second one is not from thuya and is very brittle. What do we have here? The wood chips. Their length is 10 to 50 millimeters. I think this kind of shredded material would work perfectly as garden mulch. Now I will shred a dried spruce branch with a diameter of 30 millimeters. The diameter of this piece of wood is 33 millimeters. You shouldn't push the branches too hard, as it overloads the machine. This branch is 35 mm thick, and as you can see, the shredder is struggling a bit. However, with a little help it managed to get through it after a few tries. It has no trouble processing the next 30 to 35 mm branches. The stick has a diameter of 35 mm on one end and 50 mm on the other. It's worth pointing that it's rotten. As you will see later, it's easier to push it through using another branch rather than the provided pusher. This stick has a cross-section of 33 mm on the one side and 50 mm on the other. In this case, it turned out to be too much for the shredder, As you can hear, it's stopping immediately upon contact with the wood. Now it's time for the conclusion. I will start by addressing the points raised in the previous episode. They say inserting branches is easy, whatever that means. In my opinion, it would be much simpler if the shredder were loaded from the front or the side. You can easily imagine how much simpler it is to insert several meter-long branches from the front or the side compared to loading from above. Another disadvantage of top loading is that all the small twigs and debris fall straight onto the operator. The device is quiet. I'm curious if it matches my definition of a quiet machine. I wouldn't say this shredder is quiet, but it's tolerable without ear protection. However, for a full day of work, I would definitely put on hearing protection. Of course, I know that the manual provides exact values. However, I'm discussing this from the perspective of an average person who probably won't bother checking it since the packaging already says the device is quiet. And even if they did, let's be honest, who among us really understands decibels? It comes with a handy prodder. I wonder if it's better than just any random branch. Personally, I think it's better to push branches through by inserting new ones instead of using the included pusher. As seen in the video, the pusher isn't stiff enough to properly press down slippery wood, whereas feeding in more branches gets the job done. That's why I don't really see the need to use the pusher. Moreover, a stick can push the remaining wood all the way through, which isn't possible with the pusher. Summing up, I think getting this shredder was a really good choice. It can handle most of the garden waste I cut, and with regular garden maintenance it can handle everything. For major garden reshaping, only the thickest 40 to 50 mm branches need to be put aside. Compared to gasoline-powered alternatives, it's much quieter, you don't have to pull it to run it, and most importantly, you can forget about fuel, oil, mixing ratios and constantly checking their levels. All you need is an extension cord. Are you interested in this video? If so, visit my channel for more content like this. And if you crave knowledge, entertainment and inspiration, subscribe, like and comment so I can create more content for you.